So 92 years of experience of living in Washington. That is a long time.
That's just us.
That's just us. And it's this combination of having lived all over Puget Sound, from Lake Stevens to Seattle, into Tacoma, and then for the last 7 years here in Olympia. I'll tell you this much, if I'd have known about Olympia sooner, I'd have gotten here sooner. So we're gonna give the inside deets. What's it really like living here?
And when Joe says the inside deets, we're going to give it all to you. We're going to give what do we do like, what we don't like, what we found surprising.
Shocking sometimes even.
Yeah. So stick around. You're going to want to hear more. And by the way, we're Joe and Charity. We help people just like you every week who are moving into the area. We're local realtors.
7 years ago, I was asked to run a real estate brokerage in Olympia. And that's really was the impetus of what got us moving into this direction. And I'm so glad that we did.
Yeah, we are really glad that we did. But when it was time to move here, we really didn't get much time to scope it out. We came here during the fall and we thought, wow, this is really beautiful. It's a good sized town. I think we'll say yes, but like most of you, you probably aren't going to be able to spend much time here before you decide. So I'm glad you're watching this video and I'm glad you're watching some of our other videos so you have a better opportunity than we did. We just jumped in with no YouTube videos.
Which would have been helpful.
Yes, totally helpful. So we're going to start off by sharing with you some of the things that we were surprised with when we got here.
Yeah. Now, I know this is going to sound a little awkward, but the main thing that I noticed right away was the amount of water and access to the water. In other cities in Puget Sound that we've lived in, the water is mainly a waterfront area. But in Olympia, there's these fingers that continually point out into the water, and it gives so much water view, waterfront property. There's so much beauty that's just part of the natural landscape of the area.
Yeah, and besides the water, it's just gorgeous here with all of the trees.
Yeah.
I know that most of the time when people move here, they're looking to have trees around them, and you have them everywhere. You can see in this neighborhood we're in, there's trees everywhere. But besides just the evergreen trees, there are so many deciduous trees here as well. So in the fall, it's gorgeous. And that was the time that we got to come see it. So yeah, it was way different than even the other areas of Washington that we had lived in. It was somehow even prettier.
And besides for just the beauty, the size of Olympia is really surprising how easy it is to get your arms around. Now, we've lived in cities much bigger, obviously Seattle, Tacoma, lived in Washington State. We've actually lived in the other side of the state in Spokane. But the size of Olympia, it is so accessible and you can just wrap your arms around it. So it doesn't feel like it's going to take you 10 to 15 years to figure out, what is going on in this city? Like you could do it within a year. So get a pretty good grasp for what's going on and just kind of feel like it's made it your home.
Yeah, that was really important to me. Like Joe had said, we lived in some larger cities and sometimes it just feels like you can't get to know it, but you can really get to know this city and feel like it's home very quickly.
Yeah, remarkably so.
One of the other things that surprised both of us was how close we actually are to Tacoma. We mentioned that we had lived in Tacoma before, but we really didn't ever come down here. And it's like so close to Tacoma. We thought it was a faraway land. Why ever go? But if we would have come here previously, we would have loved it and we probably wanted to move at that time.
Yeah, most of my adventures through the Olympia area were on my way out to the peninsula to go steelhead fishing, some type of adventure that way or hiking. It really didn't stop to kind of go through, so didn't really make any mental note of it. But that convenience location that Charity is talking about, it's convenient to Tacoma, it's convenient to Seattle, convenient to the airport. It's like an hour and 15 minutes, depending on traffic, to get to the airport or to Seattle, which makes it a really ideal location that gets overlooked because you're thinking, I need to be closer or it's too far away. It's really not. The only separation between Tacoma and Olympia is the military base. So JBLM is the military base between us. And it really only takes about 15 minutes to get across, and it's perfect. Amazingly close. Love it.
Yeah. The other thing that we were surprised by is the blurred lines between Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater. So if you're watching these videos and you're thinking, I want to move to Olympia, do not stay away from Lacey or Tumwater because basically they're all intermingled. I don't even know why there are 3 different cities.
I really don't either. That doesn't make any rhyme or reason to me. However, I wasn't here when they started it all, so I didn't get to make the rules. I just have to play by them. So if you're considering Olympia, consider all of the areas because they really are basically all tied together.
Yeah. After we had lived here for a while, there were a few things that we started to notice that we thought, that really is kind of surprising, but I like it.
Yeah, for sure. One of them is the purplish. Now, Washington State is blue. There's no doubt about that, especially the western side of it. And you can think to yourself, I bet there's a lot of animosity between people. Well, we've discovered it really is purplish. It's some combination of blue with red, and people get along. We often have people over at our house because of kids in sports and Super Bowl parties and those type of things. And it is very surprising to me, especially if you follow national news, that people that are red and blue can get along. They do. They're really wonderful people here in Olympia. Maybe that just speaks to them and their personal maturity or whatever it is, but it's really fun to see that you could be opposite sides and still in the same room and care about each other. So it's really fun.
Yeah, it is great. The other thing that we love that was surprising to us is that we discovered it was way more artistic than we knew.
Yeah.
We knew that Olympia had that free spirit vibe, but we didn't really know until we got here how artistic it is. If you drive around Olympia, there's murals everywhere, there's little art galleries, and the thing that is most predominant when we talk about how artistic is the procession of the species. The procession of the species, in case you didn't know what that is, and you probably don't, is this wonderful arts and earth celebration that happens here in Olympia. And people spend 6 weeks putting together these elaborate costumes, and then there's a parade, and there's also a luminary nighttime parade. It's really awesome. But besides the artistic side of things, it also highlights how earthy it is here in Olympia.
Yeah, I would definitely say when we're talking about earthiness is the appreciation of the outdoors and the appreciation of nature. There is just a kind of a general sense of, hey, we're on this planet together and a care for it. I don't want to say it's extreme on either side of it because that wouldn't be the right way to say it. It's just there's a general healthy respect for the beauty that we get to live in.
Yeah, it feels like such a perfect fit for us. We love that because that's the way we feel.
Yep.
So it's not all roses.
It's not like perfect. We don't want to give you a false impression because there are some things that took us a while to figure out and get used to. And I would say one of the things that you had to get used to, and we're still working around, is the lack of shopping. So when Nordstrom's rack came to the area, it was like big news. We're all on Facebook, Instagram, because we're older, Instagram, little TikTok, just like joking around about Nordstrom's here, woo woo, we're amazing. And the reality is, it is a problem. There's not a lot of shopping.
Yeah, you've got Tacoma close, which is great. And if you want, even more than that, you can go to Seattle or Bellevue. But most of the time, to tell you the truth, we're buying our stuff on Amazon or at Costco.
Yeah. Whatever the age is of buying clothes at Costco, we're at that age. And so, sweatshirts, all that type of things, which are constant necessities, it goes right along with those bison burgers and celery. So I just want to let you know those are just going to be something to get used to.
The other thing that took us a little while to get used to is the selection of restaurants. Now, we have some restaurants here that we absolutely love.
Love.
You've heard us talk about them before. We go there all the time, but there's not as many as I would like there to be.
Yeah, if you're a true foodie, what you're going to say is you're probably going to go to Seattle, probably going to go to Tacoma. You might make a trip down to Portland to really scratch the itch of all of your cravings. Now, there are a lot of great restaurants here. Let us not get you deceived thinking, oh my gosh, there's nothing to eat, I'm going to McDonald's. No offense, if you like McDonald's, good for you. Okay, a little bit of judgment, just not too much. But there's not going to be a ton of things for you, just to be aware of that.
What goes along with that is there's not a lot of nightlife here. Now, that might be because Joe and Charity don't experience a lot of nightlife and it's all happening out there. But it's a smaller town, so there's not a ton, but there are bands that come through and all that, and there's been many a famous band that has come from here, so it's not completely dead. And if you like to get out, I'm sure you will get out more than us. Yeah,
we've actually had clients tell us of things that were happening in the nightlife arena that we're unaware of. Probably says something about us more than the actual situation of the nightlife scene here at Olympia.
So you move here and you tell us what's going on. One thing that didn't necessarily catch us off guard, but it does with a lot of our clients moving here, is how dark it gets in the winter. It's 4:30 and it's dark.
Yeah, and it's 8 o'clock when it gets light. You do have a window of time. It's during those dark days of winter, but then it starts to brighten up, but you have to be aware of that because sometimes people think to themselves, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a deal. It is a deal, and it's something that you need to be aware of. Now, I think we overcompensate, like, hey, it's dark, but we have summer, because we have summer. And it is the most amazing time of the year. Basically, July through September into October, you are going to be the happiest person in the world because it's the most beautiful place in the world. However, you're going to be gearing up for winter once you get in October.
That's right. And don't forget that it doesn't get dark till 10 o'clock here in the summer. So it's awesome. In fact, if you're used to being down south, you have 4th of July fireworks happen at like maybe 8. You're waiting until 10:30 here's to see your fireworks.
Much later, a longer day. Take the next morning off, just FYI. One of the things that we discovered after living here for a while is how much we enjoy the Olympia area and how it meshes with our lifestyle. Let me explain a little bit. First of all, our youngest son graduated from Olympia High School, and he was here through the late part of middle school, and he absolutely loved it. We loved it. Had such a great experience with the parents, with coaches, with the high school themselves. Wonderful people, and we loved that mesh. So it was a perfect win-win for us. Now, if you don't have kids or if that's not important to you, that might not be a big deal, but we just wanted to mention that because it really was for us.
Yeah, one of the other lifestyle things is what we mentioned before is the outdoorsy life. It is just perfect. We're actually in February right now, and it's really sunny. It looks like it's cold, but it's not very cold right now. So everybody is out today walking around, hiking. There are so many opportunities that we've watched our other videos. You've seen us talk about how much we like to hike and all the places you can go, both in the city and out of the city. And it just lines up perfectly. In fact, we live right by Watershed Park, which means we can go for a hike any day we want, just 5 minutes away.
Yeah. The other thing that we really enjoy is the laid-back lifestyle. Now, if you're really high-paced and you want it to be moving, fast-paced, all of that, you may even assume a little bit that that happens because of the capital. It really is pretty laid back. I enjoy that a lot. I don't want to be running in the rat race, mainly because I become a rat and want to avoid that. But it is pretty laid back. There's things happening, there's development happening, there's business opportunities, there's job opportunities that happen, but it is far more laid back. So if you're used to really a grind, it's going to take a minute to adjust.
Yeah. It's not a flip-flop sort of California laid back.
It's not that.
Food.
Nope.
But it is chill. It's very chill.
It's like business casual. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Friday, midday. Still getting things done, but the weekend's coming.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
I know this is something that we thought about, and it's probably something you're thinking about too, is when you move somewhere, how is it actually going to improve your quality of life versus the place you're already living?
Now, I would say the first and foremost on that is the cost of living. We are about 40% cheaper than Seattle. And for a West Coast town with all the amenities that come within it, within an hour and a half of where we live, it's a really great value. So if you're starting to think to yourself, man, I'd like to set myself up best for retirement, and like you're 10, 15 years away and you want to make sure you cross all your T's and dot your I's, this might be an area you want to consider just because of the affordability is still there. And it's affordable in specific ways that I think are unique, that add to the value of life. Lots of waterfront, lots of view properties, lots of easy access to the outdoors. And that to me is such a great value, being 40% cheaper than Seattle.
Exactly. The other thing that has contributed to our value of life here living in Olympia is that because we have children who are older that no longer live here, the location being ideal, close to Seattle and all of that, makes it so they actually want to come back and visit us. It's not just because they love us, but it's because there's things to do when they're here. In fact, when our kids were here over Christmas, we went and spent the day up in Seattle, went to the museums and all the fun stuff. So if you're in the same stage of life and you want to be somewhere where your kids don't think it's so boring, they never want to come visit you, it's here.
And that goes into the convenience of the airport. Now, SeaTac is on the south side of Seattle, which makes it perfect for us. So I don't have to go through downtown Seattle to get to the airport. Yeah. Which, holy smokers, that is such a big deal, especially during traffic times. So that is something to consider as well. Obviously, there's times if there's road construction or there's been a car wreck, it's going to slow down your travel times to SeaTac. However, for the most part, it's about an hour and 15 minutes to get there, which is nice and convenient for quality of life.
Yeah, and we plan our flights to be non-traffic times. So.
Midday, baby. Fly out and fly in midday, and you're going to love it.
Yeah.
Now, these are all the reasons why we moved here and how it's turned out for us. And it started obviously with the job opportunity.
So drop us a comment below and let us know what your why is. Is it your job? Is it the beauty of the Northwest? Is it your family? Those are the things that we find most people are moving here from. We'd love to hear your story. And if you want to share more of your story with us, then we'll fit in those comments. Then text us or call us. We'd love to help you figure out if this is the right area for you to move into. And if you enjoyed this video, then keep watching because this next one is going to be perfect for you.